Well, how's that going for you? And he's all excited about her. Oh yeah, I mean she's for this and for this and for this. And I looked at him and said, "Oh well, but, work for her full time, yes? Yeah, that's my full time job right now. I work for her campaign." Oh, well, that must be nice. You're making good money. And he's like, "No." I work long hours. Oh, but you do that because you want to. So your salary. No, you're not on salary. You're on hourly. Kind of, sort of, but not really. So, let me tell you, it was for almost torture trying to get this kid nailed down. 22 years old, total Hillary fan. Okay, so you're still in college. Yeah, but I put it on. I'm like on this internship with Hillary, her campaign, because I'm in marketing and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, so you got an internship, so that's why you're making less than what a full-time non-intern person. No, I'm making what other people are making who aren't interns. Oh, so you're making a good living then, I guess, for now. What do you work maybe 50 hours a week? He says, no. Yeah, really? Not hourly. I'm paid for doing a certain amount of work and so many hours, and I'm supposed to work those hours. So your full time is supposed. I'm asking your full time. Well, yeah, 35 hours a week. That's all her campaign. Wait. You're working 35 hours a week. That's what you're contracted to do. Let's be honest. You're being contracted to work 35 hours. You work 7 days a week, which means you're working 80 or 90 or 100 hours every week. Yes? And on that contracted 35 hours a week, you're making $12 an hour. But isn't your candidate out there telling us that we need to have a $15 an hour minimum wage? Healthcare. Because he's not getting the $15 an hour that she is out there touting that business pays. Bernie Sanders is the same way. There are people in his campaign that are making $11, $12 an hour, while he's out there touting, "Oh well, we got to make these people got to be paid $15 an hour. That's minimum wage." And then he's out there. Then he also gets out there and trashes startup sharing companies like Lyft and Uber. Did you know that Bernie Sanders, during his campaign, whenever it's available in the area that he's in, only takes Uber? His campaign records prove it. He trashes Uber, but he uses it. Now, these people are nothing but big time hypocrites that are not in it for you or me, the middle class. But they have said this lie so often, and the lie is so big, that even when you present the facts, Bernie Sanders is for $15 an hour. He doesn't even pay his own people $15 an hour. But he's for the middle class, but he doesn't pay his people. But he wants people to have $15 an hour. But he's not paying his own people $15 an hour. What don't you get? But they'll still support him. Well, Bernie Sanders is for the middle class. So you got all these middle class people trying to stay in the middle class, and they are participating in this new, what we call sharing economy, like, Airbnb and Uber and Lyft and what's a DoorDash, a delivery company. And he trashes them to hell, says they need to be heavily and overly regulated, but he uses them. And you wonder why. I tell you, you do not want to have to go through this on a daily brain ache. This is why I'm telling you, you will get a brain ache. Because you will sit there and you will rack your head, you will bang it up against the wall, Because you're saying, but Rod, he says he's for $15 an hour, but he's not paying $15 an hour. Because let me give it to you straight. Because the reason why Hillary and Bernie are not paying their own employees $15 an hour, it's simply because the government doesn't make them do it. So left to their own devices, even though they say it's the right thing to do, they're not willing to do the right thing unless they're told to by the government. The government isn't telling them that they have to pay $15 an hour. So they're not going to do it, even though they say it's the right thing to do. Now, I'm sorry, but I don't know how you can support hypocrites like that. If you don't want to call them, either they're hypocrites or they're just out and out liars. They don't believe a damn thing that they're telling you. Yeah, the sharing economy, it needs to be regular because everybody's being taken advantage of. I mean, look, everybody's being taken advantage of. Everybody's being taken damn advantage of. But that's exactly what you use, Mr. Sanders. Think the Uber and Lyft drivers are being taken advantage of, but that's who you use. You use them. And you don't give tips. Been reports about that, too. Remember when Hillary Clinton, where did she go? She went into a Chipotle, right? Didn't leave a tip. Leave a tip. SUV tour. Yeah, don't forget, the SUVs are they're eating on the environment. Terrible. Al Gore's out there. Yeah, hey, all this climate change. Like Obama. We got all this climate change going on around here. We got to stop this climate change. Yeah, this is the same guy that sent Air Force One on a 3-hour flight for a photo op. Nobody aboard except the pilot. This is something that costs like $200,000 an hour to operate. So roughly $600,000 for a photo opportunity. Remember that? I think it was the first year he was in office. He did that. Remember that? People thought, oh no! Look at this plane running around. It's flying low and around the buildings. Oh my God! It's another, terrorist attack. Air Force One on a photo op. Wasn't even aboard. He was back in the Oval Office. I don't know where it is. President of the United States doesn't even know where his own aircraft is. I don't know. I didn't tell him to go. Hey, what if he needed it? Yeah, President can't not. That plane does not leave. It doesn't even get started, let alone leave the place that it's parked, unless the president knows about it and gives the okay. But yeah, as we've seen since then, the guy's flying all over the place. I mean, he's even spent, $3 million on a couple of golf trips. It's something that the left would have totally eviscerated George W. Bush if he would even have thought of doing that. You got Al Gore flying around all over the place and then riding in limousines talking about global climate change from all of this carbon, and he's spewing more of it than anybody else. And all these wonderful, wonderful UN people who want to talk about, every year they got to meet in some exotic locale. They can't use things like Skype to do online conferences. No, they got to go to exotic locales that are beautiful, out of the way, and fly in all of these jets so they can talk about global climate change due to CO2 levels when they're out there spewing more CO2 than anybody else on the planet. And then they run around and they complain and blame World War II on climate change back in the 1930s. Then they pull that same play out of that old dusty playbook, and John Kerry reads it and says, hey, that's what's happening in the Middle East right now. It's not because of religious differences or radicalism or evil people down there. Oh, no, no, no. The reason why the ISIS is out there fighting the Syrians isn't because of political and religious differences. No, it's because of climate change. And then we come back to the United States where we have two candidates on the left who are both screaming their heads off, saying that the American federal government needs to raise the national minimum wage to $15 an hour, and they won't even pay some of their own people that amount. And yet, all of these people still have their supporters. Even after I just pointed out why they're hypocrites and liars and bigots and fascists and racist, and yet these people will still support them because the lies were big enough and bold enough and told long enough that there is no amount of truth that is going to shake their beliefs. It's like they've been brainwashed like the Church of Scientology. And these people on the left have got their tentacles around the American people's left, their throat. They've got their hands around their throat and they won't let. It's kind of like The Simpsons, where Papa Simpson is always choking Bart. In this particular case, these people get choked out. They come to and say, more, please. We want more. More choking. I know there's the whole saying, you can't fix stupid. This isn't stupid. This is worse. This is blind obedience that was brought about by the ultimate in lies. And we still have those lies being told today. Only thing that we can do to counteract these lies, is eventually some of them are going to break their fog and turn on their logical thinking brain, and they're going to look back and think, oh my God, I'm awake now, but I was such a... It's happening, folks. It's happening now. So we got to keep it up. Because stupid is as stupid does, for sure, but those who've been brainwashed can be unbrainwashed. It happens all the time. People get out of Scientology, they can get out of liberalism. I promise you that. Out of time for today. See you tomorrow. I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.